Welcome, everyone, into another edition of the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider with head coach Ric Wesley. I'm Jeremy Bolker alongside play-by-play voice DJ Foster, and, of course, head coach Ric Wesley. Juwan Stark's going to be joining us on the program. We're excited to talk to him again. We got a chance to catch up with him in December, and I think, DJ, we bring these players good luck because he's been playing awesome here through a good part of this season, especially the last few weeks.
He has been, yeah. Gliek, North Division Player of the Week last week, and just had senior day this past weekend, and yeah, he helped the Lakers to a 3-1 homestand, which we'll talk about with Coach here. A big win over Michigan Tech last week, and Lakers now still in a logjam. 4 teams tied for third place in the overall conference standings, so a lot to sort out with just one regular season game left.
And all the different possibilities that'll make your head spin too, but we'll try to sort through at least a few of those with head coach Ric Wesley as we talk in Laker hoops for the rest of the hour. Grand Valley now 16-11 overall. They completed the home season part of their schedule. They got Ferris State coming up this Thursday night. That is going to be a big one. That game at 8 o'clock this Thursday. Well, we'll bring in head coach Ric Wesley right after this break. This is the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider here at Jets Pizza in Allendale, here on your home for Laker sports. This is the Grand Valley Sports Network.
We were born here. We grew up here. Raised our kids here. Went to school here. We live here. We are the home team.
And welcome back inside the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider with head coach Ric Wesley. It's all presented by Rivertown Honda. Got to get it at Rivertown Honda. Play-by-play voice DJ Foster here. Also with Jeremy Bolker. And, of course, we bring in head coach Ric Wesley. The Lakers 16-11 overall, 12-8 in conference play. Again, 4 teams tied for third place in the league standings. And we'll talk about that certainly throughout the show and kind of give you a look at what the rest of the conference looks like. But we bring in head coach Ric Wesley. Coach, a 3-1 homestand for your team last couple of weeks. Certainly, I know you would have liked to go 4 for 4 and get that last win, but 3 really good victories for your team, and obviously the one against Michigan Tech last Thursday night.
Yeah, it has been a good homestand. Like I said, last one wasn't what we wanted it to be, but overall, still, it was nice to get back and kind of get back to where we wanted to be in the conference standings. It's been a crazy year. It seems like we got a 16-place tie for second place. I mean, everybody is continuing to be bunched up. We, you win, but everybody else seems to win. We lose. It never changes. I don't ever remember a year quite like this. It's going to make for a interesting conference tournament, 1 through 8. Boy, they're all good teams, and they've shown that. And we just kind of continue to beat each other up. But happy to be where we're at this late in the season.
Yeah, and you mentioned just looking at it now, teams 3 through 8 are all within 1 game of each other, which is incredible. The 8 seed as of right now would be Hillsdale, and they won 5 in a row. I mean, yeah. So it's just kind of all jumbled up, and you guys had a great win to kind of exact some revenge against Michigan Tech after falling up there earlier in the year. Last Thursday, you guys played a great game against Michigan Tech.
Yeah, we sure did. Like I say, up at their place, I thought we if you remember, we played them right after they had a big win over Lake Superior State. Mm-hmm. So I thought we caught them. I thought we played them at a good time. I thought we were ready to go. We did a good job. They had really been shooting the 3 well up there. We played good defense. We did a lot of good things, and we just had a little bit of a stretch in the second half. Right at the beginning of the second half, where their big guy got a couple deep catches in the low post and scored, and then right there in the middle of the second half, Kyle Monroe, their outstanding player, got it inside, made a couple jump hooks on us. So there's about 5 possessions, and that was the difference in the game up there. So we really talked about that, thought about, what we could do better, and so I'd hope we'd have a good chance to even the score, so to speak. And I thought our guys came out and played with tremendous energy, really solid defense. We did a great job on Monroe. Trevin Alexander and Zach West in particular, didn't let him get to his favorite spots. And we controlled the rest of the guys. I thought no one guy for them really just had a big night. So that's not easy. They still, made some shots. They got 12 threes, but they had to shoot 34 times to get them, and most of those shots were challenged. So really happy with that effort and to come away with a win against a very good Tech team.
Absolutely.
I want to get more into that game, Coach, but if you could look at the team overall, you look at Juwan Starks, who will be joining us later on in the program. The games that some of your seniors, Justin Grease in the last few games been able to step it up here too, and not only your seniors between, Trevin, what a machine that guy is, and then, Luke, Cool Hand Luke. Would you say you're playing some of your best basketball right now this season?
Oh boy, it's a tough call. It's been such a crazy year with the schedule and the balance and the parity of the teams. Obviously, we're not a dominant team. We've had some great wins and we've had some tough losses. So, I'm happy with our guys. I feel like we're in a good place. We had a good practice again today. We're actually getting more guys healthy. Some of the guys that have been hurt aren't necessarily guys that play big minutes for us. A couple of them are, our redshirted guys and stuff like that. But just getting guys back in practice allows us to have better practices, more competitive, a little more physical because you just have the numbers. So I feel like we're in a good place as a team. We have a tough challenge ahead of us here as we go on the road one more time, and then obviously the conference tournament. But I like our guys, and I'm not fearful of anyone. I think on a given night we're good enough to beat anybody. And bad news is probably on a given night anybody we're going to play from this point on, it could probably beat us. So it's just been that kind of year. I'm hoping that we have one more surge of energy and production or productivity in us that we can make a little run here at the end.
You're listening to the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider with head coach Ric Wesley. This segment brought to you by Cardinal Buses. Go in comfort, go in style, and go green. Go with Cardinal Buses. Coach, so Trevin Alexander, talking about the injuries, he got back in time for the Michigan Tech game after he missed the Lake Superior State game with an injury, and you were still able to get the victory there. He played just 2 minutes against Michigan Tech in the first half on Thursday due to foul trouble, and still ended up with a double-double, 15 points and 10 rebounds in only 19 minutes. He came back with a vengeance in that second half.
Sure did. We wanted to ease him back. No, it's funny because we really wanted to go to him early in the game, and I think the first offensive play of the game, we got it into him, and he got a nice basket. And then, unfortunately, he picked up the first foul of the game. I don't remember quite how it happened, but Kyle Monroe drove to the basket, and I thought Trevin did a pretty good job. I thought Monroe pushed him off a little bit, but it might have been the first play of the game.
I think it was.
And I almost thought like the referees weren't quite ready and didn't quite get a good look at it. So he got in foul trouble almost right off the bat, and that was really a downer because I like that matchup. He's big enough and strong enough that Monroe, can't take him down in the low post. And yet Trevin also is mobile enough that he can kind of chase him around a little bit. So I was really worried about that. But Zach West, stepped up and did a good job defensively. And as our other guys did, we were able to keep him in check. And then second half, Trev was fresh as a daisy, and he came in, and he was really a ton. And particularly in the last 10 minutes of the game, it felt like he got every defensive rebound. He was just digging balls out of there and made a couple good shots as well. So, we'll take him for half the game. It'd be nice to get him, a whole game like that. But, boy, having him back makes a big difference.
But, Coach, just overall, just impressive when you look at the players. And it just seems like there's somebody that steps it up not to say that we didn't know Juwan Starks was a good ball player, but just all of a sudden he starts contributing on levels that maybe we hadn't seen or necessarily as fans hadn't expected earlier on in the season. And it just seems like we have more and more pieces coming together on this thing.
Well, again, keeping everybody healthy is a big thing. Mm-hmm. Guys, if they're physically not 100%, it's hard for them to perform the way they'd like. And, we're in a pretty good place now, and then you add to that new guys, have settled in at this point. Chris Dorsey is, not a veteran, but he's certainly not a new guy anymore. You get in the second semester, and Ben Lubitz same way, and so on and so forth. So, our new guys are more comfortable now, and our old guys are staying healthy. So it certainly helps our depth. I think you're seeing, as you mentioned, Justin Greason. Now he's a second semester sophomore, so his confidence level is much different than it was last year, and certainly even much different than it was at the beginning of this year. So, there's nothing like that experience. You never have enough old, veteran, good players, but certainly as the season goes on, your level of comfort and competency and things like that certainly should get better, and it certainly has.
And, of course, we're talking about Grand Valley's victory over Michigan Tech, 74-57, this past Thursday night. And we'll get into more of the Northern game from this past Saturday. And it all comes up right after this. Again, Grand Valley taking on Ferris State this Thursday night. Should be very exciting on the road. Last regular season home game. And we'll talk about, as well, the GLIAC tournament and what's going to be happening on a week from tomorrow on Tuesday night as we open up the GLIAC tournament there. This is a GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider with head coach Ric Wesley, presented by Rivertown Honda, here on the Grand Valley Sports Network.
We were born here. We grew up here. Raised our kids here. Went to school here. We live here. We are the home team.
I believe that was one of the highlights there for the Northern Michigan game. Justin Greason with 24 points in that game. That's, again, this past Saturday. Welcome, everyone, into another edition of the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider. We're here at Jets Pizza. We want to remind you, folks, if you can come out here before 8 o'clock. You get a large one-topping, the Ric Wesley special, only $6. One of the many fine specials that Jim Pettis, the fine owner here, and the fine staff, always cooking us up some great food. Am I right, Laker fans? We always get some great food out here tonight, and we always have a great following out here. As well, Jim wanted us to remind you about the gluten-free pizza. Now, DJ is going to be a father here pretty soon. And we always know about that, a few pounds that you put on, the guys put on, not necessarily women. So, DJ, I'm going to cut this coupon out for you.
Okay.
Yep, $9.99 gluten-free pizza.
Appreciate it.
One topping. So don't forget about that, folks.
You're always looking out for me.
Yes, absolutely. But welcome back in. Grand Valley State is playing some really good basketball overall. 12-8 in the conference, 16-11 overall. Just completed a nice 4-game homestand and on the road against Ferris State this Thursday. And, Coach, going into that Northern game, the final score, you guys fell 82-77. But I'll tell you what, they just kept shooting the ball, and they shot it well pretty much the whole game. But I will say that, while there was a 5-point spread, you guys really came roaring back in that last 2.5 minutes or so. Couple bounces here or there that could have been a tie ball game there. It might have been going in overtime.
Yeah, this game was really a disappointing loss for us. I was really worried about the game coming in. Northern Michigan has had record-wise not a great season, but when you dig into the numbers, they certainly have shown that they're capable of playing good basketball. They had, middle of the year, they had gone on the road and got everybody's attention by winning at Saginaw Valley and winning at Wayne State on one trip. They've had a couple road games where they got beat close, and they've had some good wins at home. And they're just a very, very difficult team to match up with. As I looked at our game first time around, which we won by a very big margin, you'd like to feel like you felt good about it. But as I looked at it, boy, everything went our way. We were on fire, making every single shot. Every loose ball came our way. They didn't seem to have, much energy that game. And so even though we won by a lot, you could just see that this is not an automatic.
That was the 34-2 run.
Yeah,
Correct.
we went. It was a kind of an out-of-body experience we had. So I wasn't at all surprised that this turned out to be a very difficult game. And I really thought that our guys played hard. I thought we played hard. I didn't think we played particularly great, but I don't think we played particularly bad either. You look at our numbers and. The things we did offensively were fine. We just could not find a way to stop them. And we tried everything. We tried a couple different zones. We tried a couple different things in our man-to-man. And to their credit, they just kept making shots. And they're not an overly big team, but they got inside our defense for a number of mid-range jump shots and floaters and boy, and yet even with that, I felt like we continued to fight and hang in there. Even with about 3 or 4 minutes to go, we made one last push, tried to stir it up a little bit, did some trapping and kind of high risk, high return. And we got a couple steals, got a couple shots to go our way. We had a couple fumble plays on the sideline. They kind of balls went out of bounds, calls that didn't quite go our way, but. To their credit, they kept making free throws down the stretch, and they just didn't open the door for us to have a comeback at the end. So, again, really disappointing. But I've got to give their team a lot of credit. They're just kind of playing loosey-goosey, and came in and really had their A game.
Kind of overshadowed an otherwise great afternoon for Justin Greason. Career high 24 points. He was 7 of 9 from the field. He made 10 of his 12 free throws. He's done a better job at the free throw line here in this second part of the year. Added 8 rebounds as well. He had a really good effort, probably his best in a Laker uniform.
Yeah, and you hope that's something that he can build on. Until you do something the first time, you're not going to make it a habit. So now he scored 24 points. Maybe he's got a taste of it, and maybe that's something that we'll see more often. As is often the case with big guys, big night scoring usually involve free throws. They're around the basket. They draw a lot of attention, a lot of contact. When they're being aggressive, they tend to draw fouls. And I've talked to Justin about his free throws. He is a very good free throw shooter in high school, and he's got a good free throw stroke. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I think he just gets going a little bit too fast. I've encouraged him to take more time, kind of compose yourself. And like I say, 10 out of 12, that's a good numbers for a big guy. And next thing you know, you got 24 points. So. He's slowly but surely. I mean, I don't come on offensively. I haven't really, pulled the numbers out by first half, second half of the season. But my guess would be his second half numbers are much better than his first half, and so that's an encouraging sign for our future. We got to get Drake going a little bit better. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Right.
We really need them both to play well, and right now Justin's on top of his game, so. Hopefully that will continue, and certainly this week we'll need that as we go against one of the best big guys in the conference.
Well, Coach, it's always got to be a challenge. It's something interesting for you, too, because, like, that matchup difference, like you said, you were worried about this game, but as a coach always presents a challenge, which you'll be up for those challenges in the playoffs here, too. But, 5 guards, really, in essence, the lineup with Northern, and just how you go against it. When they're shooting well, it's really tough.
Yeah, and they subbed in some big guys, so there was times when the matchups were more traditional kind of matchups. But Eccles was such a factor coming off ball screens early in the first half. We didn't do a good job of that, and then Johnson kind of was, kind of had a bigger guy on him, and he kind of drove the defense. Mm-hmm. And, I felt good at halftime. They had made like 3 shots. The first shot of the game where I thought Trevin kind of tipped the ball and it went in. Eccles banked in a 3 in front of our bench, and then there was a third kind of crazy play. But I remember thinking, well, there's 7 points that were just kind of fluke kind of things. That's not going to happen again. But again, that ended up proving to be the difference in the game. Yep. Just kind of crazy plays, and everything seemed to be going their way. They actually, I think, tipped one in for us, didn't they? Was there
Luke
one?
claimed it, yes, but I think it might have been.
I guess
might
so.
have
I
been
can't
them.
say everything went their way. I guess that went against them, but overall, they just really were on top of their game, and everybody that came in, Metelsky, the freshman kid, hit a couple threes, and they were just really playing well, and we couldn't find a way to get them stopped, and as a coach, that's frustrating. But we certainly tried everything in our arsenal.
Coach, we're going to have Juwan Starks on in the next segment. It was senior day for him, and also obviously Luke Reiskamp and Trevin Alexander. We had him on back in December, but he's really come on here recently, last couple of months. Talk about a quick word on Juwan before he comes on.
Yeah, Juwan's had a good senior year. I think, I guess it was last week, was the GLIAC Player of the Week. It had a tremendous week and a couple home wins. Came back, played really well against Michigan Tech, hit a couple big shots in that game, and has provided a steady outside shooting for our team, which we desperately need. And when he's playing well, I think sometimes you don't notice the other things he does. I mean, he's been a good rebounder. He gets steals. He had 4 assists, I think, the other night. He just does a lot of things. He blocks a lot of shots for a guard. So, when he plays well, we play well. And nights when him and Luke are both hitting well, we're really tough to beat. So I hope he's got another streak game. He's got such a beautiful shot. You think he's going to make it every time he shoots. He doesn't have much that goes wrong, and he gets it off quick. So that's a tremendous asset, and certainly been his calling card over the course of his career and during the time he's been here.
Senior guard Juwan Starks will join us after this break. It's the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider with head coach Ric Wesley. It's presented by Rivertown Honda, and it's all right here on the Grand Valley Sports Network. Welcome back inside the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider. Play-by-play voice TJ Foster and Jeremy Bolker here with you. Of course, it's the Basketball Weekly Insider with head coach Ric Wesley, but we're joined by Juwan Starks, senior guard from the Grand Valley State team. This interview brought to you by Earhart Construction, the official construction company of the Grand Valley Sports Network. Juwan, second time on the show. We had you back on in December. How are we doing?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for asking. We wanted to we had Luke Reiskamp on last week, and we were going to get you on as well because you were the GLIAC North Division Player of the Week last week. Well, it was for the 2 games prior against Northwood and Lake Superior State. You averaged nearly 23 points a game and were nearly lights out from downtown. Talk to me about when you get in a zone like that. For the fans that don't know, he was 10 of 13 from three-point range, which is hard to do when you're in the gym by yourself. Maybe not for you, but you were 10 of 13 from downtown, 23 points per game in those 2 big wins, especially over Lake Superior State. You hit the game winner. Talk to me about when you're in a zone like that, what that kind of feels like.
It's actually just more of my teammates getting me open and giving me that confidence to be able to shoot those type of shots, especially with Luke attracting so much attention. I'm usually just wide open, or Luke has 2 or 3 guys on him, so it's just pretty much my teammates just getting all the attention. So
you really seem to get into a nice zone. I think it was maybe the Northwood game or even the Lake Superior State game as well. I mean, you started to you could tell you were feeling it early on, and what does that feel like? Do you know when you're warming up and when you're in practice, early that day and shoot around if you're starting to feel pretty good?
It's more of just getting a feel for the game once I check in, just talking to Luke, asking what's the seams we can do, how they're playing you. They're playing you pretty tight. They're playing for you to lose. So pretty much based off what Luke's telling me and how they're playing him, usually decides if I'm going to be on and off. So
you've been in and out of the starting lineup. Does it help you maybe a little bit more coming off the bench where you can kind of get used to the speed of the game, kind of watch and see what's happening at the start, and then when you get in, you can kind of put into motion what you've been seeing on the bench?
I say it's about even.
Okay.
Not really much
but
of
you
a
love
difference.
the start too.
Yeah, I love the start,
sure.
but it doesn't really matter. As long as we win, I don't really care.
Sure.
So.
Okay.
Well, joined here by Juwan Starks. Well, getting that a GLIAC Player of the Week is really a neat honor here. Hasn't been done in a while, DJ. Can I ask who told you? How did you find out?
I think I found out. I want to say Miles. Actually, Miles. He's like on the GLIAC Instagram page or something like that. He tagged me in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so he found out first, and then when you sort of got it, what was your initial thought?
Just I really didn't think too much about it.
Yeah.
Just said, oh, okay, like the picture. So that's about it.
You did like the picture, you said.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That was really neat. We had talked with Coach Wesley about that. As it just seems like, look at. You've been on fire, and then Justin Grease in the last couple of games too. It's you guys seem to throughout the season, and especially getting towards the end of the season, a different guy. Different couple of guys step up in there, and you guys are in a different way, and you all contribute. But you're finding different individual performances too, doing well.
Yeah, it usually starts with our seniors. If we're not picking up the slack, a lot of our younger guys comes up and do the dirty work. So last week was pretty much Justin and Chris or Miles, whoever it may be. Sometimes even Ben too. So.
Would you say, I asked Coach Wesley this, do you guys think you're playing some of your best basketball right now?
I don't think we're playing our best basketball right now. We could play a lot better, but I think we're playing pretty good right now.
I know that's I don't know what goes through your head at all, or is this part of the game? Because you've always just naturally, you're based on your background in high school and that too, been just a naturally gifted outside shooter. But I know Coach Wesley is now sort of relies on you too as part of the game plan. That's a big, neat step that he depends on you, and your team really depends on you now to hit some of those shots too.
Yeah, not just me. Also, it's more like Zach, Ben, Luke, especially. So we're just trying to open up for our big guys so it can draw more attention to us, and then we have a wide open lane for Chris to drive or Miles to drive. So it helps a lot.
Here in the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider with head coach Ric Wesley, and obviously here with senior guard Juwan Starks. And Juwan, let's talk about that game-winning shot over Lake Superior State. You've been very humble here so far, but Miles got a great pass to you in the corner. It was a pretty well-designed play coming out of the timeout. I think Justin set the screen for you. You're in the corner. You lift up, you hit the shot. It wasn't a pure swish. You've made a lot of swishes here. That one kind of bounced around the rim a little bit and everything, but you got the shooter's roll. Talking about that play and just kind of how it was designed and what you saw.
Well, it was actually designed for either me or Luke, and to be honest, I thought I was going to Luke because he was pretty on that game. So when Miles came to my side, I'm like, oh, okay. So maybe I need to get prepared to get ready to shoot this. And the way the defender was playing me, it looked like he kind of knew the play already. So I just started walking more towards the top of the key. So when he wasn't looking, Justin just set the perfect screen, and I was able to get the shot off.
Have you made any game-winning shots other than that? I mean,
in high school.
In high school,
yeah.
So it had been a while, obviously.
Yeah, it's been a while.
What was the feeling like? Because the game wasn't over at that point, obviously, but it put you guys up. So I've said it'd be a pretty good feeling. It was less than a minute to play, and you guys had the lead.
It was a pretty good feeling, but we usually don't try to get too much on our emotions, so we like to stay even keel with so we can be able to play on defense. So it was a good shot, but it wasn't really too exciting.
Okay.
But we're talking about that, game-winning three-pointer, but as well, really sort of the game-winning defensive play by holding on to that rebound near the end of the game too. That's what really neat because that secured it too.
Yeah.
So
we just played very good defense towards the end. And, Luke and Zach did a good job boxing out, and then I believe one of the Lake State players tipped the ball to me. I just held on to it and threw it to Zach, I believe. So we just played real good defense towards the end of the game.
Juwan, what was it like coming back to beat Lake Superior State and Michigan Tech after losing to them on the road, getting a couple of big wins to kind of keep you guys right in the thick of things in the middle of the conference standings?
It was good. We felt like we owed them one. We felt like we didn't play our best basketball against either of those teams, especially against Lake State. We came out real flat and really wasn't ready. We was really high going off our run streak. So hopefully we feel the same way against Ferris.
You guys, we mentioned you're in a four-way tie for third place, so there's really no way to tell who you're going to play next week in the opening round of the conference tournament. How much you guys pay attention to that? I mean, obviously it's all over social media and different things like that, and you can find the standings easily. Do you guys pay attention to that, or what's the talk around the team because there could be any one of maybe 5 teams you could play next week?
We just pretty much take it one game at a time. We don't really get too involved with that stuff. Like, once we win the game, we might hear, okay, we're in third place tied with such and such, such and such. So we don't really get too involved with that.
Interesting.
All right, well, we're doing one game at a time. We got one last game of the regular season. And, man, this is a big one.
Yeah.
This is a big one on Thursday night against Ferris State. So you had said about some of the Upper Peninsula teams. We owed them one. What's your thoughts coming into this Ferris State game on Thursday?
Oh, we owed them a slap across the face. That's what they gave us last time. So we're going to be ready.
Yeah.
We had a great today. We had a great practice, so we're going to make sure the guys are ready. So.
Well, it should be very exciting. That's coming up this Thursday. Again, a doubleheader, women and men's. Women at 6 o'clock and the men's immediately following, or right around 8 o'clock. You can join that game on the flagship station, ESPN 961. So that should be very exciting right there. And, as we find out more, too, DJ, you had alluded to it about who going to be playing next in the tournament. That's got to be pretty exciting for you, too. If you could go through the emotional side of it, or you're not really even thinking about it. This is your last regular season game, and then you got the tournament, and then, that's sort of it at Grand Valley.
Yeah, we're just very fortunate that we even made the tournament, to be honest. We're not really looking too far in the future. We're just worrying about the present right now. So just trying to get focused for Ferris and hopefully get this W, and hopefully we'll be able to get a home game.
Juwan, last Saturday was senior day for you and Trevin and Luke. Obviously, those guys were 4-year guys. You were in your second year. Certainly didn't end the way you wanted to with the loss, but what was the day like? What was the pregame stuff? Were there some butterflies, some jitters?
No, it was like a regular game. I think once we got into it, like a little emotions got to us a little bit, but it was just like a regular game once we got going. So.
Okay.
Well, that's really good, and I know as we wrap things up here, Juwan, if you could tell us a little bit of background. I was going to like you're an Illinois, Chicago guy. I always consider Aurora as Chicago, right? I mean, do you say you're from Chicago?
No, I say I'm from Aurora.
Oh, okay. You do say from Aurora. Okay. But if you could, just tell us about how you got here.
Got here, I believe Coach Wallace came to one of my games at my old college at Kishwaukee, and I think I made like 7 or 8 threes in the game or something like that. And
did you know he was there?
I don't think so. Actually, I knew Ferris' coach was there.
Oh, wow.
They were recruiting me, actually, and then Coach Wallace saw me, and after the game, he contacted my coach, and that was pretty much it after that.
Wow. Excellent.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that is really neat. Well, again, enjoy these games here. Let's go get them. Let's go beat Ferris, and let's go have some fun in that GLIAC tournament, too.
Yeah.
All right?
Thank
well,
you.
Congratulations. Continued success here on the rest of the season. Juwan Starks joining us. When we return, we'll bring back in head coach Ric Wesley. We also want to shout out, hey, if you are around the area, come on out. And we're going to ask Coach Wesley a question. If we pick your question, we got a fine ESPN 961 T-shirt. We know Garen and Carrie are in the audience. We'll include you guys, too. I don't think you guys have an ESPN T-shirt yet. So we want to see those questions. Come on up. And all the fine Laker fans here, Tom and Margie and Berwin. Hey, great stuff, guys. All right, we will be back with more here at Jets Pizza in Allendale. This is the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider here on the Grand Valley Sports Network.
We were born here. We grew up here. Raised our kids here. Went to school here. We live here. We are the home team.
And welcome back inside the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider with head coach Ric Wesley. We thank senior guard Juwan Starks for joining us that last segment. DJ Foster and Jeremy Bolker here with you as well. And Jeremy, we skipped the Budweiser hot seat question earlier, so let's get to it now. The Budweiser hot seat question is presented by Mervine Beverage. Enjoy responsibly. This one is not from the crowd. This one is, unfortunately, from me. I think I stole it from you a couple years ago, but today is President's Day. Yeah, exactly. Coach, we may have asked you this last year or a couple years ago. I don't know, but who's your favorite president?
Coach, come on. You know you want to say it.
Pretty simple question.
Tell me.
My favorite president, huh? Oh, man. Well, George Washington was pretty good. Man, I don't know. That's a tough one, you know. I went to the Ronald Reagan library here about a year ago. My son was living out in California. I got to admit, after you've been there, you walk out of there, that was pretty impressive.
Okay.
Gerald Ford being a Michigan guy, I feel like he's sort of didn't get the credit that he deserved. He came, got the job at such a tough time after, Richard Nixon's deal, and then I think he did the right thing where he pardoned him, and it probably cost him a re-election. So I always feel like he probably was a great person and probably didn't get the credit he deserved. I find Richard Nixon extremely fascinating. I'm not going to say he's my favorite president, but I've read several of his books, and he was sort of half devil, half genius, kind of a guy. So I don't know. There's a bunch of them. You don't get to that job without bringing something to the table.
It was a loaded question.
Sometimes it didn't quite work out the way it was supposed to. FDR certainly, have to be right up there just for longevity and stuff. So, but I don't know. You'd have to give Ronald Reagan. I think just his ability to inspire people and create a positive environment. I kind of look at the president almost like coaches. And sometimes people will discount. The feelings thing, that's the new thing. People far right gets on the far left for the feelings, but I really think the feeling thing is a big thing. When you're in a position like that, people are looking up to you, and they want to be inspired. They want to feel like things are going well, and certainly it's a lot about policy and stuff, but it's like any person in a position of leadership, you've got to inspire the troops under you, and the troops are, the American people. And so Ronald Reagan, whether you liked his politics or not, he just was such an upbeat, positive kind of person. He made everyone feel better about things. So I think you got to give him some credit for that.
I want to give you some credit for that answer. I want to give Coach a round of applause.
I feel like we could change it
because that was awesome. That was an awesome tightrope act on everything. It was non-offensive to anybody, and yet very informative and inspiring too. So nice job,
and that would be a good
Coach.
lesson for our politics. Non-offensive would be a good thing.
Well, okay, yeah.
That would be a good kind of thing to try to adopt.
Let's talk basketball again. How about that?
Hey, there
GVSU
we
Basketball Weekly Insider. History classes is now over. Coach, as we're looking at the conference standings, it's trying to pick out who's going to finish where. It's like trying to pick your best president or favorite president. There you go. But as you look at the standings now, there's 8 teams. They know the 8 teams that are going to be in the conference tournament. Ferris State's the number 1 seed. Finley's the number 2 seed. Everyone else is just kind of up in there. They might just toss them in a hat and pick out a name. As I mentioned, the remaining 6 teams are all within a game of each other, which is just incredible.
It's unbelievable. I'm just so thankful we don't have to play Saginaw Valley again.
Right.
You don't have to play Walsh. I mean, the kinds of teams that aren't going to make the conference tournament. I don't ever remember a year where teams of that caliber. Saginaw Valley was ranked number 1 in the nation at one time, and there was nobody in our league that didn't think they were deserving of that at that point. And to think that they're not even going to make the conference tournament is just mind-boggling, and it speaks to the quality of the team and the competitive nature of the programs in our conference. So I don't know what's going to happen. I said it last year. I thought that just getting in the conference tournament was a big accomplishment, and I really felt like anything could happen. And I think the number 8 team seed beat number 1 last year, if I remember right.
I think it might have been last year. It's happened a couple times in the last few years.
So, I'm hoping that can happen to us no matter what, whether we are fortunate enough to, Tim Knott's got the scenarios down pat, but I'm not even sure what all the scenarios are, whether we're playing at home, whether we're on the road, whatever. I'm just hoping that we can, get in there with some fire and determination and have a good game and get to that next round. Because, again, that next round, something crazy could happen, and next thing you know, you win it and you're one of those teams that's sort of a Cinderella story, and you're going on to the NCAA tournament.
I know you mentioned Tim Knott, the fine sports information director here at Grand Valley State. But what are some of the basics when it comes to the tiebreaker? Because you look at the conference schedule here, and you got a lot of you guys all logged in here at 12-8 or 11-8. But what are the basic tiebreakers of something like this? In general,
well, a lot of times it goes to like head-to-head competition when you start comparing 2 teams, and when you get multiple teams, it gets even more complicated.
Right.
But usually it's the head-to-head thing is usually.
And if you split, then how?
Well, then you start looking at how you did against the first place team and all the way down. So again, this game for us on Thursday is huge in a lot of ways. I mean, it's first place team, but I mean that's a big tiebreaker because they haven't split with a lot of people. Ferris, they've won both games. That's why they're in first. So that could be a huge tiebreaker for us. That's probably the single biggest tiebreaker amongst those teams. So we'll see. I mean, there's that's for the Tim Knotts and the Jeff Ligneys and the people in our office, conference office to figure that out. And I don't even spend any time on it. All I know is we want to win. We want to win. We want to win next game. We want to win the next one. So that's our focus, just take care of what we can control and let the chips fall where they may.
Well, and I think by the time you figured it out, if you go through all the scenarios, it would be Thursday already. You'd already be playing Ferris, so there's no point to it. So it really is good, and that's what Jawan Stark said. We're just focused on one game at a time, obviously, and we're just looking at Ferris State because you can't look ahead because there's so many different teams you could face. But it's got to be interesting. I mean, anybody in that group of 6 teams from 3 to 8 could win their first couple games, and you see March Madness.
I'm proud of our guys for fighting through the ups and downs that is a college basketball season, and I feel again I look at some of those teams that aren't in there. I feel very fortunate to be able to say, hey, we have clinched a conference tournament berth with 1 game to go.
Yep.
And again, particularly those 2 teams I mentioned, Saginaw Valley and Walsh, are good teams. Tiffin is a good team. Ohio Dominican is a good team. So I mean, Northern Michigan, we just played them. They beat us. So they're a good team. And so it's just, it's really tough. And at this level in particular, I don't think people can appreciate that. You'll look at a conference like the Big Ten, and Michigan State will finish 6th, and everybody will just assume they should get an NCAA tournament bid. Well, I'm not saying they shouldn't, but it's just so much more difficult at this level. And at that level, if you're 8th or 9th, you're going to the NIT. There's so many more consolation prizes in Division II. There's 8 teams and only 8 teams in our region. They're not sending you out west or down south, and so it's so much more difficult. And I don't, it's nothing you can do about it. But given our resources, given who we are as a coach and as a player, you finish 4th in the GLIAC, and you don't feel any differently about your level of success as that team that finishes 4th in the Big Ten. I mean, they're feeling, hey, we had a pretty good year, and they are rewarded for it. Well, as a coach, you feel the same way. Hey, given who we are, given our resources, given the competition we play, we've achieved at a pretty high level, and yet you don't always have anything to show for it, which is a little frustrating, but it just makes it that much more competitive, I think, at this level. You really have excellence is really rewarded more at this level than it is at the high major schools.
And for those fans that don't know, Grand Valley State is 12-8 in conference play. They are tied going into this last game against Ferris State. It's Grand Valley State, Lake Superior State, Michigan Tech, and Wayne State. So 4 teams tied at 12-8, but Ashland is just 1 game back at 11-8. Hillsdale is back at 11-9. So all those teams just kind of in a logjam from spots 3 through 8.
I should say excellence. I should say parity. The parity at Division II. I don't want my Michigan State friends get mad at me because I root for those teams too. But I think the parity in Division II is so much greater across the board.
Well, Coach, we have to congratulate you on that GLIAC tournament entrance. That's awesome. I mean, across the ladies who played before you too. I mean, that's a really neat story. They've been having themselves a great season as well.
Yeah, they seem to be really kind of, I don't know if catching fire is the word, but I think they're kind of finding themselves even more so. Last year at this time they were kind of a little unsure, and then they caught fire in the tournament. And I think they've kind of, the expectations were high for them, and that could be a burden a little bit. And I think they've kind of weathered their way through that, and now they seem to be really playing well. Again, this homestand was really good for them. And, little Janae Lang, she's kind of, got it going there. She had a great finish on senior day the other day. So, yeah, hats off to them, and hopefully they can keep it going, for a long time yet to come. I think they've got a good chance to really advance and do something in the tournament.
Well, congratulations to Coach Williams and the crew over there, and, of course, to Coach Wesley and your staff and the team. Very much looking forward to that. Again, that's going to be exciting this upcoming Thursday, 6 o'clock for the women's game, 8 o'clock for the men's game, taking on Ferris State. When we return, we'll break down more of that game. This is the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider with head coach Ric Wesley, presented by Rivertown Honda here on the Grand Valley Sports Network.
We were born here. We grew up here. Raised our kids here. Went to school here. We live here. We are the home team.
And welcome back inside the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider with Ric Wesley. It's live at Jets Pizza here in Allendale. DJ Foster, Jeremy Bolker with you. We're talking Grand Valley State Laker men's basketball. Will close out the regular season at Ferris State on Thursday night, an 8 p.m. tip-off between the Lakers and the Bulldogs. And Coach, Ferris State first in the conference. And as Jawan Stark said, you guys owe them a little bit of redemption as they gave it to you pretty good here back in late January. Handed you a tough loss, and hopefully you can settle the score and return the favor.
Yeah, we really played poorly here. They were really ready. It was our third game in 5 days. It was their third game in 5 days as well, so I don't use it as an excuse. But we just didn't have a lot of energy and fire in that game, and really disappointing. I mean, I always hate to lose, but I really hate to lose when we don't give our best shot. And that one didn't feel like we gave it our best shot. We had a lot of turnovers, which played right into their hands, as they're a very transition-oriented team. And then and the possessions, offensive possessions where we didn't turn over, boy, we shot quick. Boy, oh boy, we had about 4 or 5 straight possessions where it was one pass and shot, which is great if you're making the shots. But if you're not making the shots, you got to adjust and you got to work the ball a little bit more. So, I think a big thing in this game will be our ability to have good offense, because if you don't have good offense, then you're scrambling back defensively, and that plays into their hands. They're a very good open floor team. So we'll need to control the tempo a little bit better with our offense, and see if we can't get them on their heels a little bit. They're a tough challenge. Big Zach Hankins, probably the best big player in the conference, leading the nation in block shots. Man, he helps your defense, knowing that big guy's back there to clean up a lot of mistakes. So we'll have to do some things to move him around, hopefully, or to get them in a little bit defensive situation, so to speak. We had some success going right at him here, our big guys with Justin and Drake playing pretty well. That was one of the few highlights in the first time around, I guess.
What is a rivalry game like this, not only for the players, but for you as a coach? I mean, obviously it gets amped up. It doesn't matter what the records are. Anybody can win on any given day.
Well, anytime we go up there, it's always a big deal. I mean, it's always, T-shirt giveaway. They honor their other teams. Their alumni come back. The mayor's there. You name it. It's always a kind of a crazy environment, and their kids, their student body gets excited. When Grand Valley's in town, so it's always a kind of a nutty atmosphere, and that can be good. It can be bad. I mean, like I told our guys, is we're going up there, and we're certainly the underdog. We've got to go up there and really focus to have a chance to win. And we'll come up with a good game plan. And again, I don't think we can play worse than we played here. Hopefully, we'll go up there and play a little, not only play harder, but I think play smarter. I don't think we played real smart here.
Right.
Which is a recipe for disaster against a team of their caliber.
And want to make sure we don't forget him, but Nate Kurth back in the studio, thank you. We're going to keep it right here till closer into the top of the hour here as we begin to wrap things up at the GVSU Basketball Weekly Insider. Coach, you mentioned about T-shirts, that type of thing. Quick reminder, 20% off everything at the GVSU Team Shop. It's a President's Day special today. Again, it's only through the end of the day today. GVSU Team Shop. So if you've been thinking about basketball gear, soccer gear, whatever Laker gear you want, 20% off everything on the website right now. Again, that's GVSUteamshop.com, GVSUteamshop.com. And, of course, stay tuned to GVSULakers.com as we go through the playoffs, especially after the results of Thursday night's game. What sort of everything you can follow along. DJ and Tim Knott and some of the folks here in the athletic department will be posting about when the games are and that too, of the schedule moving forward, both on the men's side and the women's side. So, stay tuned right there, and stay tuned as well. We'll let you know more about the upcoming program on Monday. As usual, I always want to thank Jim Pettis here for hosting us and the great specials here at Jets Pizza all season long, and of course the great Laker fans who've been coming out here all season. Coach, as far as the schedule, probably somewhat regular until for this Thursday game that you would normally do on a Thursday, Saturday, through the weekend.
This be strange. This will be the first Saturday we've had off since.
Okay.
Man,
Yeah.
since
July.
Christmas. We had a Christmas a Saturday off there along Christmas. Otherwise, it'll be the first Saturday we've had off, and since we started playing in November, which is kind of a weird thing. What do you do on Saturdays?
Yeah.
Sleep in, hang out.
I'd
with
love
the
to, but
kids.
my kids are the alarm clock.
Yeah. But so that'll be a little bit weird. I think we'll come back and practice Friday, probably get a good lift in after the Ferris game, and then probably take Saturday off, and then come back Sunday, Monday to get ready for our game wherever that is on Tuesday. So it will be a little bit different.
Well, Coach, hey, let's go beat Ferris, man. Let's go get him.
Hope so. Really would like to finish the season on a positive, and then go into the tournament with some real momentum. Be tough, but that's why they play the games.
All right, Coach, let's go get him. All right, bud.
thank you.
All right, excellent. Thank you again, all the Laker fans out here. Thank you to the fine staff at Jets Pizza. Juwan Starks, great stuff for coming on the program. For DJ Foster, play-by-play voice, and head coach Ric Wesley, I'm Jeremy Bolker. Have a great night, everybody, and go Lakers.